Hello, everyone. I'm Sam without a plan, and I'm thrilled to be here and a part of the Souls Charity Marathon 2024. The runs so far have been incredibly awesome, and your support has been truly inspiring. Huge thank you to all of you for your generous donations for Save the Children. Now, let's keep that energy going. Up next, we've got the Elden Ring Lockout Bingo race. So let's everyone give a big welcome to blanxz and NuclearPastaTom.
Hello, everybody. Welcome, SCM to Lockout Bingo in Elden Ring. This is using the rule set from Season 4. I don't know if any of you guys here have been keeping up with Bingo, but myself and NuclearPastaTom are competitors in the event, and I'm blanxz. And Tom, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, I'm NuclearPastaTom. Some people call me NPT for short.
And we are being commentated for by Mitchriz. So give us a quick little intro, Mitch, on your experience, I guess, with Bingo. You and I are a bit newer to the scene.
Well, technically, I'm one of the OGs of Bingo. I just kind of fell out of Bingo for a while. I was in Season 1, totally skipped out on Season 2 and 3, came back to commentate for Season 4, and yeah, excited to commentate for blanxz and Tom, because they were both very, very strong competitors in the Bingo Brawler that was put on by Captain Domo. Very fun event, and we're excited to basically keep being able to have more of it here at Souls Charity Marathon, and yeah, excited to see what the board can bring, because these bingo boards can be pretty ridiculous. So are you guys all ready?
Yeah, just really quickly, for those of you that are not super familiar with this format of Elden Ring, we're going to roll a board. It's going to have 25 squares and a 5x5 board. And the way that you win is you either get a line of 5 in a row, vertically, horizontally, or diagonally, or the majority of squares, which would be 13 out of the 25 squares, with the caveat that every bingo line from your opponent has to be blocked. So you'll see us strategizing our square selections based on what's most optimal at that time. And I'm actually really excited for today's board because we actually added a couple of new fun ones. So hopefully we get some of those. And I'm about ready to go. I'll wait for you guys to give us a ready signal, then I'll start the match.
I think we've got everything, right, Sam? Are we all good to go?
We are good to go.
All right, let's go
right.
ahead and get it started.
All right, good luck, blanxz.
Good luck. I will hit start match, and once the countdown hits 0, you can go ahead and you can start the timer. So I will get it started, then deafen up. Good luck again, Tom, and hope you guys enjoy the run.
Alrighty, so now throughout this match, both the runners are going to be deafened so that they can't hear me, because it is a game of strategy. They've got to sort of go back and forth with each other and, try to block what each other is doing. Bingo, the objective is basically to fill out an entire line, all 5 in a row, that does include diagonal lines. So it doesn't have to just be straight across or straight up and down, could be those diagonals as well. And if somebody can fill out all 5 of those in a row, they win. If no player can fill out all 5, because each square can only go to one player, they cannot both achieve the same objective. If it is impossible for either of them to get a line, then whoever has more by the end will be the victor. So since there are 25 squares, which is an odd number, that means you need 13 squares to win if no more lines are possible. So they are both starting out by basically just buying a bunch of starting gear and things. This is Elden Ring after all, so you're going to need to have a weapon, you're going to need to have armor and things like that. But we've made some rules for this bingo where you're only allowed to use weapons from the DLC. They are allowed to buy some armor from the very start, though, as well. And we have a little mod where they've got a little shopping district that they can get to at the start. They can get a bunch of nice physic tiers. They can get some nice talismans and stuff. So they've got 3 minutes to set up before they actually get going here into the match. And we can take a look at the board here and see all of the different objectives that they might have to do. So some of these objectives are going to be things that they could get done fairly quickly, and some of these things are going to be objectives that they would have to spend a long time to get to. So generally, they're going to try to sort of fight for those early game squares. Looking at it, some of the ones that they could get done very quickly. there is sell backhand blades +0. That's on the top left over there. That just is acquiring the weapon and selling it. This does mean they won't be able to use it. That's one less option they'll have for a weapon as they get through here. Right next to that, just one over, is acquire 2 Kindred cookbooks. That's from the Kindred of Rot. You just basically talk to 2 of them. They give you a cookbook. That can be done fairly quickly as well. Those are 2 of the ones I'm expecting that the players might race for at the start here, but we're not, entirely sure. We also have one new square that even if you are a fan of bingo, you may not have seen before. Acquire 3 great katanas. There's one here at the very start. There's one from Ancient Dragon Man, gives a katana, and the only third one that you can get is off of a very tricky NPC boss called Rakshasa. So they are going to have to do that if they want to get that square. That will definitely be a later one. We're not going to see that rushed, but there's a lot of options here. Since the diagonals are possible lines that you can get, and both diagonals go through the very center square, this means the center square is very, very valuable. It's kill 3 bosses with knight in their name. It can be anywhere in their name. It can be Putrescent Knight. It can be Relana, the Twin Moon Knight. It can be Black Knight. It can be Death Knight. It can be Knight of the Solitary Jail. There's so many options for knights, so I expect one of them will probably do that, try to do that fairly quickly because that center square is so impactful. It could block off both of the diagonals or set up for both of the diagonals if you want to be aggressive with it. Here we can see that blanxz is currently heading through the ruins, whereas Tom is skipping the ruins, so they seem to have slightly different plans. blanxz going to the ruins indicates he might be heading towards backhand blades, so he might be going for that sell backhand blades +0. Tom completely skipping over the ruins and heading to the left. Looks like he's going more straight towards the great katana, so this might be a difference in weapons, or this might just be blanxz trying to rush out a square, and maybe Tom saving that for a little bit later, or maybe just, skipping it entirely of saying, I don't want the backhand blades at all. So here, blanxz has picked up the backhand blades. He's going back. Looks like he's going to sell it right away. So we'll have our first square on the board immediately. And there it is. Sell backhand blades +0. 1 square for blanxz already. 1-0 lead. But Tom, a little bit, closer to some of those other objectives. blanxz had to go back and sell that, so Tom is now ahead on whatever he'd like to go to. He might be heading towards Kindred cookbooks. That's what I predict would be another quick one to do. But he could also just be heading towards opening up the map, giving himself a bunch of options. There are a lot of things that you can do in bingo to try to win, and not all of them involve, rushing a square right away. Sometimes it involves setting up for squares later. Sometimes you can start to look at sneaky lines that you might be able to get. Looking at this board, I don't see any lines that look very rushable, except for maybe row 4 or row 5 are both not overly difficult. Row 4 has kill a Death Knight. You can find that in a catacomb. Acquire the 3 great katanas that I talked about earlier. Kill 3 NPC bosses, which there's, several options for that. Visit 5 Mikula crosses, which is one that oftentimes players will rush as well, because you basically pick it up all along the way as you are getting map progress. And kill Chief Bloodfiend, who is in the Elak River, not too far from a lot of the places that we can get to. So that's one that somebody might go for, but with all of the squares being so rushable, it's actually hard to kind of stop your opponent from grabbing one of those. Sometimes if you want to set up for a line, it needs to have some late game squares in it so that your opponent is not going to try to go for those late game squares, and you can sort of sneak it from them instead. If it's all rushable, your opponent is probably going to catch on pretty quick and take at least one of them. So I think seeing that Tom, NuclearPastaTom on the right, is probably going for those Mikula crosses. blanxz has also marked that he is possibly going for those as well. He has also visited some Mikula crosses. But given that blanxz had to go back and sell the backhand blades, I think Tom will easily secure this if that is in fact what he's rushing for right now. So Tom is about to do this little sort of a skip, although it's an intended skip, to go entirely around Castle Ensis. So Castle Ensis is the place with Rolana. It's the first boss that feels like a roadblock. It feels like you can't get through unless you go through Rolana. But it turns out you can actually just go entirely around the outside to the back, and there's this Fort of Reprimand that you end up here, and that gets you access to the Skidoo Altus, entirely skipping Rolana and Castle Ensis in its entirety. So if you didn't know about that, if you're playing the game for the first time and you're stuck on Rolana, try, you know, finding this little side route, and you can get stronger in the DLC before coming back to her if you are struggling. For our players, though, it's a speed thing. There's nothing on this board where they would need to go into Castle Ensis. There is Kill Rolana, Twin Moon Knight, in the top right of the board, but you can actually do that from the backside. You can go around the entire castle and then jump in from the backside of the castle and get straight to the boss fight with Rolana. So it is faster to go around, even if you're trying to kill Rolana. So that is what we're seeing them do. Tom is now heading over here towards one of these forges. And so let's see what he... Oh, no, he's heading past the forge. This is one of the Kindred cookbooks. There is a Kindred of Rot over here past the forge. So he's going to go ahead and talk to that, acquire its cookbook, and that'll be one of two. And now he just needs one more. He's probably going to go grab a Grace in Skidoo Altus, and then I expect he's going to go immediately for a second Kindred cookbook, or he might finish out the Mikola Crosses. So we'll see what he does there. Whichever one he chooses, though, blanxz might have a chance to snipe away the one he doesn't go for immediately. So blanxz is still getting up to the Skidoo Altus, but he's not that far behind. So if Tom gets greedy with it and goes for both, you know, he might not actually be able to get both of those, as it seems. So Tom's grabbing this Grace here, grabbing this Mikola Cross, as well as the Skidoo Fragment. And, ooh, looks like he's heading for more Skidoo Fragments right now. This also might be a way towards another Kindred over here, but we'll see what he is up to as blanxz makes it through the Fort of Reprimand. So if you haven't played the DLC yet for Elden Ring, a big part of it is these Skidoo Fragments. They are the new power progression system that was introduced in the DLC. Every time that you get a certain number of fragments and then turn them in, you get increased power. So you will both deal more damage as a percentage and take less damage as a percentage. So it starts with just requiring one Skidoo fragment to level up and get, it's like 10%-ish more damage and 5%-ish less damage taken. The numbers vary. I'm not going to get into the specifics, but you can think of it approximately that way. And then eventually it becomes 2 per and 3 per and so on. But Tom does get the second Kindred cookbook. So very nice, and I think he's still slightly ahead on the Mikola Crosses. If he can take away the Mikola Crosses and have the Kindred cookbooks, then he will be ahead going into the early game. But if blanxz can snipe it away instead, then blanxz would have the lead in the early game. So this is definitely a close race. I think they are neck and neck. I think they both have the same Mikola Crosses visited, so they're both going to need to get this one right up here, the High Road Cross, and then I think they're both going to need to go back and get the one near Morth in front of Belurat. So whoever can get there first, I think is going to take this square. Tom grabbing this Grace here. Let's see if blanxz does the same. If he doesn't, blanxz could actually get a lead here if he skips this Grace. Ooh, no, they're both getting the Grace, but Tom not going directly for that Mikola Cross at Morth. Oh, they're both heading actually into Castle Ensis. There is a Mikola Cross in Castle Ensis, and so they are both going for that instead. And as a race, Tom is definitely ahead. He just has a few more jumps to get down there. There it is. Looks like he's going to claim it. And Tom has taken the second square. Very unfortunate for blanxz as he was going for the exact same objective, but now he's not going to get it. He is going to complete this journey in to grab the Skidoo fragment, but has to leave empty-handed. So now Tom with a 2-1 lead, and Tom has 2 squares that don't look like they've lined up, but they're actually both on the same diagonal. So if Tom can get 3 bosses with Knight in the name and kill Mesmer, that could be very scary for blanxz, where blanxz would have to block with kill Ymir, Mother of Fingers. And it does look like that might be what Tom is going for. Oh, he's grabbing the Imbued Stone Sword Key. The thing that this does is it unlocks a teleporter that gets you to the Verdigris Discus. You might also be heading towards Rolana, Twin Moon Knight right now, or at least grabbing the Grace before her. That is a square that's on the board, as well as that's a boss with Knight in the name. So a very strong play for Tom if he does go for her, but he is still very weak at this point. Low number of Skidoo. I believe he should actually not even have a weapon yet. I don't think he's even picked up the Great Katana, so he definitely can't fight her just yet, but he could in the future. So grabbing that Grace there is a very, very smart play. blanxz grabbing a bit more Skidoo fragments. This little pot guy has one as he makes his way towards Bonnie Village. Bonnie Village is a sort of progression stop on the way to getting to the backside of Shadow Keep. Shadow Keep has almost everything in the game. You pretty much always need access to Shadow Keep to get so many of the late game squares, and so that is what blanxz is doing. Along the way, you can grab this gesture called Oh Mother. It unlocks the Hinterlands region, which has a lot of different things in it. In this board, the Golden Braid is in the Hinterlands, so you would need Oh Mother for that. As well as there are Tree Sentinels, which is a base game boss in the DLC, which is a top middle square that you could also unlock by having access to the Hinterlands. So Tom is going to go ahead and grab the Verdigris Discus. blanxz is making his way towards that backside of Shadow Keep. And I think we have time if there's any check-in, any donations we want to shout out or anything like that, as they are both sort of getting through this progression.
Yes, of course. We have $15 from Carter that says, "Let's go, blanxz and Tom. I'm so stoked to see Bingo at SCM for, I believe, the first time, question mark. Cheers to a good match, Franker Z. Thank you so much for that dono. And is this the first time we've seen Bingo?
This is definitely the first time we've seen this format, because this format is pretty new. I don't remember if we've seen Elden Ring Bingo before, but we did see Dark Souls 2 Bingo earlier this marathon, so certainly not the first ever of any type of Bingo, but maybe Elden Ring, I'm not sure. All right, so Tom now has actually gotten his third square, putting him at, you know, a sizable lead here. As well as that third square that he got is along that column 2. So he's making several threats right now. You can see that he's now got his Great Katana. He also picked up the Savage Lion's Claw Ash of War that he can equip to it. And so that's one of the 3 Great Katanas, which is part of that column 2. They both also have been grabbing a lot of these Skidoo, which is going to help them get to acquire level 10 Skidoo in that top left in column 2. So they are both, you know, well on their way to getting a lot of these pivotal squares that are going to set up for lines or block the lines of your opponent. Tom, of course, this 3-to-1 square lead is large, but it's not insurmountable, and blanxz is much, much further along the map, having gone now all the way into the backside of Shadow Keep, whereas Tom has barely unlocked the Shadow Altus. So we shall see how it goes from here, but all right, blanxz is now sort of pivoting out back into the main area. He may be heading for Rolana right now. If he does, I think that would be a good block on what Tom might eventually be planning for, because it is a boss with Knight in the name, which of course would be a very strong square for Tom, but it is also just a square in itself. Kill Rolana, Twin Moon Knight is there in the top right. Tom, on the other hand, going for a black mat. So this is a boss with a Knight in the name. He might be trying to sneak out that bosses with Knight in their name square, not going for Rolana first, but looks like blanxz is going to steal away Rolana. So Tom will not have access to that square, but Tom will definitely still have access to kill 3 bosses with Knight in the name if he continues on from there. So he's got a little cheese going. Tom is just poking Edred over and over with the Great Katana, basically just stagger locks him to death. So there is one of the 3 bosses with Knights in the name for him. Very nice. And blanxz heading into his first boss with Knight in the name, Rolana. This is a scary fight. If you have played the DLC, this is most players' first big roadblock that takes a very long time to kill, because she has a lot of very, very long combo strings that it can be tough to know when she is done and when it's your turn to actually attack. blanxz, though, I think has played this fight enough. He's probably knows when those opportunities are. And as long as he doesn't get a little too greedy with it, he shouldn't have too much trouble here, but we'll see. So far, so hitless. I jinxed it. I jinxed it. I knew I would. But it takes one hit, but you can see with the armor he's got, he's not taking too much damage. So as long as he doesn't get very greedy, he should be fine. Ooh, Tom actually picking up a third DLC Ash of War. Ooh, I didn't even keep track. So he had already grabbed the Lion's Claw before, and he got 2 more. And wow, now a 4-to-1 square lead for Tom. Tom is really mopping up a lot of these early game squares that, you know, blanxz is put, I think, a little bit on the back foot of having to do some slightly slower squares and trying to set up for later so that he can come back into this. Oh, blanxz, very nice. If you get that blue sword transition move, you can actually stand right next to her and she just won't hit you at all. It's very nice. Gets a ton of damage in. Should be able to kill Rolana in just a few more attacks. I think he's probably going to get another bleed proc before it's all over, but even if not, it won't take too much longer. Very nice jump on the Twin Moons. All right, he's not getting quite the best attacks here that you'd want to see, but Tom going straight for another boss with Knight in the name. He's going to the Knight of the Solitary Jail. This is going to be his second. So Tom getting really close to just getting 3 bosses with Knight in the name, just completely skipping Rolana because it is a longer remembrance boss, but blanxz about to take it here. Nice, he gets the blue attack again, so he can just stand near her, not take any damage. He's playing it nice and safe, no greedy hits. He definitely could have gone for some there. And Tom fighting the Knight of the Solitary Jail. It is a scary one that does a lot of damage, but as long as you stagger him, it's not too bad. blanxz does get the kill on Rolana. Very, very nice kill. Second square for blanxz. Now 4-2 in Tom's favor. Now, if Tom does sort of threaten this diagonal, I don't think blanxz needs to be too scared because he has a great lead into the Shadow Keep, which is where Mesmer is. So as long as he kills Mesmer, he will block off that diagonal. But he's going to start to have other threats that are popping up here. If bosses with Knight in the name goes to Tom, if Tom rushes for a third one after this, then that's going to set up for that row 3, which has Kill the Frenzy NPC, which is a very late game square in the Abyssal Woods. It's got Acquire 2 Dragon Hearts, which you do by killing specifically dragon or worm bosses. And it's got Acquire Egon's Furled Finger, which is also from one of the dragons. So there's some synergy there that Tom can definitely go for if he wants to put pressure on that row 3, which could be a very, very strong play. blanxz heading here into the back of Shadow Keep, which is, you know, a good place to be. There's a lot of objectives here, including access to the Hinterlands, which has some of those squares I mentioned earlier. Acquire the Golden Braid, kill a base game boss in the DLC. A lot of good stuff there. So blanxz is really setting himself up for a great late game, but Tom putting on so much pressure early that, you know, it might force blanxz into some suboptimal plays if he doesn't respond appropriately. So I would say Tom at a, you know, a reasonable lead right now, but blanxz will be set up better if he can block everything that Tom does. I think he'll be set up better into the late game to sort of make a comeback and get a majority victory. So Tom going for, it looks like, lines right now, whereas blanxz maybe just trying to set up for a majority only. All right, Tom making his way into the Fog Rift Fort. A third Knight boss is right here. So we've got the Knight that does the tongue attack. I don't actually remember his name. The other one was Edred. This one is something else. But another one that you can kill fairly quickly and will finish off. The Black Knight, Geru. That's it, Geru. I always forget his name. But if he can get Geru, that will be the third boss with Knight in the name. And Tom will have that very, very powerful center square, setting himself up for both diagonals, row 3 and column 3. So not quite as, you know, cheesable as Edred. You can't perfectly stagger lock him, but you can stagger him fairly well, and then you just have to be careful for his, you know, big attacks, his guard counters, things like that. And backstabbing him is fairly easy as well. So Tom having no trouble so far, but he's got to keep his wits about him. Ooh, that was a big damage from the tongue. Oh no! And he gets shield bashed. A very, very unfortunate set of attacks for him. He was not quite able to roll it, so he's going to have to do this again. So that'll give blanxz certainly a lot more time to catch up on some of those squares. I think blanxz might be heading directly for Mesmer here from the backside of Shadow Keep. No, it actually looks like he's heading towards the hinterlands instead. So he might be heading for that golden braid to block off the other diagonal. He might be heading towards base game boss in the DLC to make sure that Tom couldn't get that somewhere else. Or he might just be sort of setting up, grabbing graces, and then, you know, coming back and doing other things. That is something we see often in bingo, is players will set up for a square, not quite finish it, and then go do something else instead. We call this pivoting. And the reason that you might do that is because it kind of hides from your opponent what you've been doing. They don't know what things you've set up for, and so they can't sort of stop you from getting these things that you have a bunch of progress towards. So we call that gaining priority and then pivoting. All right, Tom doing a great job on Geru the second time. Luckily, he's not too far from the previous grace, so Tom was able to get right back into the fight. Hopefully, he can take him out this time. Very nice attacks. Careful of that tongue. It's very scary. And this repose should get him low enough. Just a couple more attacks after, and he'll have him. And there it is. Third boss with Knight in the name, marked by Tom. Very nice. And blanxz is heading into the hinterlands. So he's probably going to go for the Golden Braid first, and then kill a Tree Sentinel, which is a base game boss in the DLC. 2 very quick squares to get. But Tom is still currently 3 squares ahead. So even after blanxz gets these 2, he'll only be behind by 1. Oh, no. I lied. He's pivoting out. He's doing what I just said. He has gained a lot of progress towards the Golden Braid and towards the Tree Sentinel. Oh, no. He might just be buying. He might just be purchasing and then still killing the Tree Sentinel. Buying some powerful talismans here. So you have your access to most of the base game talismans due to this shop that we put in. And so you can get very, very powerful very quickly in this bingo. Not too much setup time needed. You can kind of get straight to completing objectives. All right, Tom, on the other hand, looks like is probably heading towards the dragon area. So the southern end of the map has most of the dragon stuff. So it would have the acquired 2 dragon hearts square is in the southern area where Tom is headed. It also has Egon's furled finger. So if Tom goes for those 2 here, he could be setting up for a very, very strong line on row 3. Whereas blanxz is, in fact, going for the Golden Braid, and then will almost certainly kill a Tree Sentinel afterwards. So blanxz going to try to make back some of that square lead, but it's not really going to block off what Tom is going for right now. If Tom rushes this line, blanxz is not in that great of a position to stop it. So Tom definitely having some good advantage here where he could run away with this. If he keeps going on this, he could set up for a very strong threat. blanxz does get the Golden Braid. Looks like does not finish off the Tree Sentinel just now. He's going to head towards Mesmer instead. I think he's starting to see, I need to put out some fires. I need to go stop that diagonal threat that Tom has been setting up. So he's going to go for Mesmer. But if Tom continues on the dragon path, he could set up for yet another strong threat. But no, Tom heading out instead. Where is Tom headed? Let's get to Altus. Back to the Fog Rift Fort. Not entirely sure what he is going to go ahead and do here. He was just here, so. But we shall see. As blanxz is definitely heading towards Mesmer, climbing up into the Dark Chamber, and I think we'll expect to see him just go ahead and take this out right now. Ooh, Tom using the fort as a little skip to get down here. Very dangerous, though, getting hit by a lot of projectiles. But making his way down into the catacomb, I believe. I'm not entirely seeing what he might be doing down here. Oh, it might be a DLC Spirit Ash that's in this catacomb. I'm not entirely sure. As blanxz is fighting Mesmer. Mesmer, very, very fun boss, but it can be very scary. Does a lot of damage. Has a good amount of health being a remembrance boss, but one of our favorites to fight. Mesmer is so much fun, and our players have a great amount of experience on him, so hopefully blanxz can take him out pretty quickly. Nice, even hitting the snake. And if he does it right, he can get a double hit here. Nice, hits both the snake and Mesmer's body. Has to run away from the big explosion attack. Boom, dodge it all. Just a few more hits for blanxz, and he should wrap up Mesmer. He's done a very, very good job of not taking hits in this fight. Nice stagger. Just a few more hits after this will do it. All right, playing it nice and safe. And yep, Tom is making his way through this catacomb. There's no more knights needed. Nice. blanxz takes out Mesmer, blocks that diagonal from the top left to the bottom right. So he doesn't have to worry about that anymore. Boom. And pretty much catching up on squares. It is now 5-4 in Tom's favor, with blanxz having access to those tree sentinels for later. So you might consider it as blanxz being only like half a square behind. He's really not that far behind at all in terms of squares. If he can continue to put out the fires that Tom is creating, he should have a good spot here. Or he might set up his own threat. If blanxz goes for throwing attacks only, or perfumed oil of Renah, or give an iris of occultation all on that bottom row, he could set up a very, very strong threat of his own. Instead, it looks like he's going for Commander Gaius, who is not a square on this board, but after you kill Commander Gaius, you have access to 5 Skidoo fragments at the end, which will put him a lot closer to level 10 Skidoo. So he is going for that square next, is what it looks like. A great play to do early because the Skidoo fragments make you a lot stronger. So the earlier you level up your Skidoo, the faster you can kill all the bosses throughout the run. It's going to save you a lot of time in total if you do it early. So very strong play from blanxz, but you know, he's got to be worried about what is Tom doing? Why is Tom down here at the Death Knight? And I'm pretty sure that is going to be for a DLC Spirit Ash that the Death Knight does give. Oh, he's got to be careful, though. Both of them in very intense boss fights right now. blanxz has transitioned into the second phase of Gaius. Tom taking a few hits from this axe. Oh, he's heavy rolling as well. He needs to take off some of his armor. Oh, he's very, very low on health, though. Tom's got to be careful. A backstab should give him some time to heal. Nice, so now they're both more or less fine. blanxz with Gaius very low. He just has to keep his composure. Don't get too greedy with it because Gaius does hit very, very hard. And Tom as well going for a lot of these staggers on the Death Knight. blanxz just needs one more hit, goes for it. That could have been scary. If he did not get the kill there, he might have died for it, but he got it. Very nice, blanxz. Moving on to those Skidoo. And Tom, don't get grabbed. Nice, dodges the grab. This Death Knight does take a little while, but he is working his way through the health pool. Very nice. Another stagger. I'm also a tiny bit low on heals. He's only got 4 left. That is not that many. Ooh, and oh, sorry, I missed it entirely. I missed that on the board. There's Commander Gaius's pants. There it is, right there, top right. blanxz gets it, so very huge for blanxz. So this means now they are tied up in squares, 5-5. The only advantage that Tom has from all of those early things that he was doing, well, now he's back to 1 square lead, but he also has that bit of pressure on row 3 and row 4 are really the 2 big pressure points that he might have. He also possibly has some pressure on column 2 or column 3, but we shall see where he goes for next. Looks like now he's heading towards the south. Now he's going to get some of those dragon stuff, put pressure on row 3. I think that's a very strong play from him, but it is now very, very close between the two. Tom, 1 square lead, some row pressure, but blanxz with a lot more map presence. So if it continues into the late game, I might give blanxz a bit of the advantage, but it'll depend on what Tom can do with this pressure here. I'm heading towards the Ancient Dragon Man fight, which is required to get access to the southern region of the map. And And so once he has that, he will easily be able to get those 2 Dragon Hearts and Egon's Frilled Finger. I don't really see of a way that blanxz can contest either of those. So blanxz may be forced to do the Frenzy NPC just to block out Tom's line. blanxz is now killing Dane, which is 1 NPC boss. So there is his first NPC boss. Tom is also going to have 1 NPC boss. That would be Ancient Dragon Man that he's killing right now. So they'll be basically neck and neck on that. Oh, although Tom has also killed the Knight of the Solitary Jail, which was another NPC boss. So Tom actually with the advantage there. If Tom takes away this NPC boss square, then blanxz will have effectively wasted his time in going for that Dane kill right there. So could be scary for blanxz. You do not want to have a square that you're making progress towards taken away from you, but Tom does have the advantage here on it. Looks like blanxz is now trying to catch up on exactly that. He's heading towards Ancient Dragon Man himself. And so if blanxz can get Ancient Dragon Man as well, that'll put them 2-2 on NPC bosses. And that will give blanxz access to those dragons that I said that Tom has a lead towards. If blanxz goes directly for either 2 Dragon Hearts or Egon's Frilled Finger, he might be able to take it away from Tom and stop Tom's threat here. But oh, Tom is pivoting out towards NPC bosses. Tom is certainly going to get this one first as he takes out Dryleaf Dane, while blanxz is still just working on his second one of Ancient Dragon Man. Very nice. It's nice that a lot of these NPC bosses can be basically staggered locked by the Great Katana. Not infinitely, but for about 3 attacks at a time. You can just, if you hit with the first attack, you can just follow up with the second and the third. And so that is what you'll see both of them do as they're fighting NPC bosses. Looks like Tom is going to mark the 3rd NPC boss as blanxz is still on his way to Ancient Dragon Man. I wonder if we'll see blanxz leave or if he'll finish off Ancient Dragon Man. I would expect that we'll still see him finish Ancient Dragon Man to get access to the southern region of the map, but, you know, it's certainly a decision now. It's not quite setting you up for that square as you expected it would. Tom back to a 2-square lead now. And it looks like he might be heading towards the Elac River, which would have Chief Bloodfiend. Ooh, which if he gets Chief Bloodfiend, that sets up for row 4, and Tom already has 2 Great Katanas, and the 3rd one is in that direction. You get it from Rakshasa. So if Tom tries to sneak out Chief Bloodfiend and the 3rd Great Katana, that might be unstoppable. We might have a bingo match over in 40 minutes here if Tom finishes out that line. That is a very, very strong threat that he's setting up. And blanxz does not recognize that he would go for Chief Bloodfiend. blanxz could contest him on the 3rd Great Katana from Rakshasa. But doing so, you know, would also set him up for killing the Frenzy NPC if he went through that direction. So that might be a good play from blanxz here, is to try to set up for those 3 Great Katanas. I guess it'll depend on how early Tom lets him know that he's killing Chief Bloodfiend and going for this line. I think blanxz might recognize it. He's heading towards the back section of the keep, which is the direction you would go if you want to go towards the Frenzy NPC and towards the Rakshasa mausoleum by heading down towards Jori. It does look like that's what he's doing. So if so, that'll be a very, very smart heads-up play from blanxz in order to make sure that he does not get this big, big line threat against him. Almost towards the Chief Bloodfiend area. And I do believe that Chief Bloodfiend as well gives another DLC Spirit Ash. So I think that might finish it up for Tom as well. He might get a double square here, which, you know, Tom is really just setting fires left and right that blanxz has to put out. You know, blanxz had a very strong strat of I'm going to set up for having access to the whole map. I'm going to make sure that I don't sort of lose out on anything or get blocked out of anything. But Tom is just setting so many fires that it's putting blanxz back by quite a bit. So, you know, Tom might go up to a 4-square lead here if he kills Chief Bloodfiend, as well as forcing blanxz to stop all the row threats that he has put. So forcing blanxz into possibly slightly slower or suboptimal squares will keep Tom in the lead for a very long time. If blanxz wants to get back into this, he's got to put out all the fires and really rush through the rest of it faster than Tom can do. All right, now is probably a good time if we do have a few donations. Probably maybe one of the last chances that we'll get before it's like racing to the end here. So if there are any donations, we could get them now.
Yeah, and I just want to quickly acknowledge that we are only $100 away from raising our first $4,000 for Save the Children. So if you want to get your donations in now, you better do it right now. And also, we do have a $30 anonymous donation. So thank you, Anonymous, for your donation.
Yes, thank you, Anonymous. All right, and now Tom heading into the Chief Bloodfiend fight does a little quit out here for safety, make sure that nothing follows him in or hits him as he's going through into the fight. And yeah, here he goes. blanxz looks like setting up for an Iris of Occultation. You have to kill or take out Queeline 2 times in order to get him to move to the proper spot in order to do the Iris of Occultation. Looks like that's what he's setting up for, as well as grabbing those Skidoo fragments to help him get to Skidoo 10. Tom bullying Chief Bloodfiend, but getting hit a little bit for it. Some very nice staggers. Chief Bloodfiend, as the name implies, does have blood attacks that Tom is going to need to be careful of. Like that blood flame right there. Ooh, Tom is very low. Very, very low. No, and he dies. There is a Stake of America in here, so he doesn't have to go all the way back through it, but unfortunately he was not able to get the heal off in time there. So a death is going to cost him a lot of time. blanxz, meanwhile, having taken out that first Queeline, is heading towards another Skidoo fragment. So from the backside of Shadow Keep, normally you would not be able to access the Skidoo fragment, but by doing a little bit of a skip there, he jumps down to it, gets the Skidoo fragment. This might get him to Skidoo level 10. I'm not entirely sure, but if not, he is very, very close. Tom back into the Chief Bloodfiend fight, getting hit quite a bit more. Gotta be careful. Okay, take the riposte and probably heal up immediately after. That blood is really ticking on him. And yes, blanxz does have level 10 Skidoo. Back to only a 1-square lead for Tom. 7-6. And blanxz is much, much stronger at this point. I think blanxz is heading towards Chief Bloodfiend as well right now, but unfortunately, he is not going to make it in time. Tom will definitely take Chief Bloodfiend down here first, barring, I don't know, like 2 more deaths. And there it is. That should take him out. Boom. It's Tom kill Chief Bloodfiend. And surprisingly, not a 3rd DLC Spirit Ash. You know, I've sort of lost track of the exact number that he had, but he has to be very, very close to that. All right. Yep, blanxz still making his way into the Elac River here. But now pivoting out. Okay, he sees no Chief Bloodfiend. I'll just grab the Grace in case I need it later. And porting out. Very smart here. Leveling up one more time. All right. And now he is making his way towards that 3rd Great Katana. Very, very smart. He needs to do this. This is a line that you can see that Tom has set up as a very, very big threat here. Tom has 4 of the 5 squares in row 4, so blanxz has to respect that. He has to go get the 3rd Great Katana. He does not have any other options than to do that eventually. He doesn't have to do it exactly at this moment if he doesn't think that Tom is going for it, but much safer to get that out of the way. And it's also, honestly, at this point, not that slow of a square for him. He already has access down here to this area, so all he's got to do is a little bit of a ride, and he'll be at the mausoleum for Rakshasa, and he can take that out. Rakshasa is a scary, scary NPC boss. I'll bet blanxz wanted to synergize that with the kill 3 NPC bosses square, but it did get taken away. But it is a scary square, but one that if you play well, blanxz hopefully should be able to take out Rakshasa with no problem. Tom, on the other hand, looks like he's heading towards the forge that has the hurling discus. So it is a shield that you can throw, and so that would count as a throwing attack. So Tom, it looks like, is heading for that bottom right square of kill a boss with throwing attacks only. So you have to do the entire boss fight with the throwing attacks only. So first he has to acquire a weapon that can do throwing attacks, which will be this hurling discus that you can acquire in this forge. Very, very strong. It's especially good against NPC bosses, but Tom has already taken out 3 of the most convenient NPC bosses. So I'm not sure what boss he's going to do with throwing attacks only. He might be doing something like a red bear, might be an option. He maybe is trying to synergize it with Rakshasa for the 3rd Great Katana, but blanxz is definitely going to take that away. So we'll see what he decides to do it on. blanxz is heading into the Rakshasa fight, which will get him his 3rd Great Katana and block off that row 4. Very, very scary boss, though. You got to be very careful. Basically, just slowly do some pokes. Luckily, Rakshasa takes a ton of extra damage because Rakshasa's weapon actually has an effect on it that makes you take more damage. Ooh, very, very scary, though. As you can see, blanxz only has been hit twice in the fight, but is already almost dead. He's got to heal up. He's got to play it safe. You also got to be very scared of that grass cutter move, the sort of side-to-side slash that Rakshasa is doing. You cannot interrupt it by hitting Rakshasa. No matter how powerful of a weapon you have, it will just poise through absolutely everything that you do. So he's got to be very, very careful at avoiding that move. Getting some nice pokes in. Ooh, getting hit, though, by the grass cutter. Oh, my. I thought he was going to get killed there. Okay, he's fine. He's fine. Okay, okay. Almost there. Tom finishing the forge out as well here, which will get him his 3rd DLC Spirit Ash, the legendary Spirit Ash of Telu. Ooh, blanxz getting hit by the grass cutter. Oh my god, that's so scary. He's so close on Rakshasa. He just needs to, you know, just play it really safe from here. He's got 6 heals left. He doesn't have to worry about running out of heals. 1 more hit should do it. Very nice. Woo! Good job, blanxz. Acquires his 3rd Great Katana as soon as it pops up. Takes a while to pop up. There it is. 3 Great Katanas. Very nice. Oh, and Tom actually, I guess he hadn't gotten, there's a very early Spirit Ash that most players just get, you know, fairly early, but he's coming back for it in the Fort of Reprimand. So this will be his 3rd DLC Spirit Ash, finally. I keep baiting you guys, thinking that he's had it already, but here it is. Here's the 3rd one. Boom. 3 DLC Spirit Ashes. So this puts Tom at a 2-square advantage, 9-7, through all of that chaos that has just happened. Not a huge, huge lead for Tom. And most of the line fires have been put out by blanxz. He has done a great job of keeping it very close. Tom acquiring that Iris of Grace and Iris of Occultation there, I believe. Or sorry, just a bunch of runes and then the Iris of Occultation. So now he has access to giving that to Queeline later. Or there are other choices. You could do it to Jolanne, but that'd be a very, very late square. I expect if he goes for it, it would be for Queeline. Okay, now blanxz going for 2 dragon hearts. So this magma worm is not technically a dragon, but it is a wyvern, I guess is the classification. It's a dragon-like thing and does give a dragon heart. So if he can kill the magma worm here, that'll be 1 of 2 dragon hearts to help stop that row 3 threat. Now, the magma worm does have a lot of health. It's not the scariest enemy, but the arena that it is in is pretty rough for this. It's very thin, and the magma worm, as the name suggests, puts a lot of magma onto the ground, so it can really cut off your like access to movement. But No problem for blanxz. Gets the kill. There's his first Dragonheart. Tom, on the other hand, is heading into the dragon area over towards Flora Sax. Now, over here, he might be heading towards the Cerulean Coast, where in there are base game bosses in the DLC. There is a Deathrite bird in Charo's grave, or there is demi-human Mariga down in the Cerulean Coast. Mariga, certainly an easier boss, certainly a faster boss for the kill itself, but does take quite a bit more travel time. The Deathrite bird is closer, but is a much, much tougher fight. So whichever one he's going for, though, I think blanxz is going to steal it away with this Tree Sentinel that he set up earlier. He says, okay, now's about the time that I think Tom might be heading for base game boss in the DLC, so I'm just going to go ahead and finish off the Tree Sentinel that I have access to. Very strong damage from him. He should get a stagger here. Boom, and that'll do it. blanxz now only behind by one single square, and having put out almost every single row opportunity that Tom can have. Tom still has access to row 3, and that's it. Everything else for Tom has been blocked. Every other row has been blocked, every single column has been blocked, and both diagonals have been blocked. So this is looking like it will almost certainly come down to a majority here. Tom doing a little skip to get down to the Cerulean Coast. A very nice little skip there. And we'll see what he does with the Cerulean Coast. Now that an NPC boss, or sorry, a base game boss in the DLC has been taken away, I do wonder what he's going to do for that. blanxz now heading for a second Dragonheart boss with this Jagged Peak Drake. He's actually not going for the synergy of doing Egon's Furled Finger at the same time, which he could have done, but, you know, this is a very safe play. He just says, hey, I want to make sure that I don't have this line suddenly appear, like that Tom hasn't been going for Egon's Furled Finger with Dragonhearts all this time. He just says, let me snipe away Dragonhearts right away. Very smart play, because it's going to put them perfectly even with each other. And I now see where Tom is heading to. He's heading towards the Perfumed Oil of Rana. That very bottom middle square is over in the Cerulean Coast, on a little island that you have to take a little, like, tunnel underpass to get to. So he's going to go ahead there, which is going to stop, I think that is blanxz's last uncontested line. Yes, it is. So after this, it will be a definite majority. blanxz has just stopped Tom's last row threat, and Tom is about to stop blanxz's last row threat. So they are both going to be, they're right now tied up on squares, and there will be no more line threats. It's coming down to a majority. This is going to be a very close game all the way to the end. Very, very exciting. Tom about to have a 1 square lead, but blanxz still has more of the map open. So it really, really is anyone's game. Tom needs to get 3 more squares to win. blanxz needs to get 4 more squares to win. Looking at the squares that are left, it looks like blanxz is heading right towards Egon's Furled Finger. So that is one that is not a quick square, but is one of the quickest squares that is left at this point. Tom has set up for the Iris of Occultation. He's already grabbed that. He's also set himself up for a boss with throwing attacks only. He has that shield. blanxz, on the other hand, has better access to the Frenzy NPC. He's already headed down towards Rakshasa, which is maybe about a third of the way to get to those Abyssal Woods for the Frenzy NPC. Neither of them has great access to Count Ymir, Mother of Fingers, so that might end up being the final square that they both have to race for. And kill a Dancing Lion, really either of them could go for at any point, and it looks like that is what blanxz is pivoting off for right now. blanxz is heading towards Belurat, which is where the Dancing Lion is. It is a fairly low-scaled boss, but you do have to go through the entirety of Belurat, which is a fairly long legacy dungeon. So Tom is upgrading the smithing shield, the smith script shield, that does the discus hurl. And so Tom, it looks like, is going to head for boss with throwing attacks only next. This is really, really, really close. One of the closer bingo games we've seen. And yet, they're so ridiculously fast. It is less than an hour, and we are approaching the very, very end game of this bingo match, where they are fighting for the last few squares. Ooh, looks like Tom is heading towards Belurat as well. This might be a race for the Dancing Lion. So Tom trying to sneak away 2 squares at once with throwing shield only Dancing Lion. blanxz going just straight for Dancing Lion could mean that blanxz takes that square away first. Could be very, very strong play for blanxz. Another thing to note is that Belurat is required for giving an Iris of Occultation if you want to give it to Queeline. You have to defeat his summon encounter in Belurat. So if blanxz, whichever one, you know, they choose, they might go for the same objectives, they might go for different objectives. blanxz is in here first, but Tom just not that far behind. So there is definitely possibilities for a race, possibilities for snipes here. We shall see what happens as they both make their way through Belurat. Luckily, the enemies here don't do too much damage. blanxz just kind of got, you know, hit and is still above half health. So he doesn't have to worry too much about dying instantly, but you still got to be a bit worried and heal from these enemies. Tom, on the other hand, making his way through. He's got the shield out, which is kind of nice because I guess you could block things as you're walking through, but we'll see. Now, is blanxz going to go straight for Dancing Lion, or is he going to go for Queeline first? Looks like he's heading towards the Dancing Lion. So if Tom instead goes for Queeline, Tom could definitely take that one away. We'll see what Tom is heading for first. Oh, this is certainly going to be a close race here. You gotta figure that blanxz is very, very likely to win this race, given that he's ahead and that he is not trying to use the throwing attacks. He's just going to use his very powerful Great Katana, but you really never know. It's never safe to just assume that a player will first try a boss. And it looks like Tom is also, I believe, going to be heading towards that Dancing Lion. So it is going to be a race here. And it's a race that blanxz is going to be very, very happy to be in because he's going to get it first. If he does not make any big mistakes here on the Dancing Lion fight, he should absolutely get it first. All right, blanxz is now up at the door. He's probably going to grab this Grace here just in case he needs a second try. Yep, excellent safety. Just iframing through all the spinning of the Curse Blade. And blanxz opening the door and entering the fight already. Tom only maybe 30 seconds, maybe a minute behind at most to getting there. So not that much of a buffer for blanxz. He's got to do a good first try here. Ooh, gets hit, unfortunately. Nice. You love to see that chomping attack. It's one of his most dangerous attacks, but it's also one of his most punishable. So if you feel confident in not getting hit by it, it's a great opportunity to get a good punish. This sort of spinning attack here also gives you a nice charge dart too at the end. Not bad by blanxz. He's even just strafing some of the Lion's attacks. Ooh, that's a scary one though. He's very low on health. Okay, he's got time to heal up. Very nice. Does not get greedy with it. He might have lost some posture. No, he keeps it. Gets a big stagger. I don't think he gets the riposte, though, because he went for the overhead stance. But he's got the Lion already down to about a quarter life. Just needs a few more good attacks. He's in the lightning phase, which is very dangerous. There's random lightning everywhere. One more hit should do it. Doesn't quite get it. Misses there. Boom! He's got it. blanxz takes away that Kill a Dancing Lion square, and they are tied up 10-10. Tom is now doing throwing attacks only on the Dancing Lion. So he should be able to get this and get to 11 squares. But blanxz in the meantime gets to go and get Egon's Furled Finger. We are really, really down to it. Like, oh my gosh, this is so close. This is going to be a very, very long fight for blanxz. The double Jagged Peak Drake. But it's also a somewhat long fight for Tom just because throwing attacks are not the strongest thing. You can see much slower than what blanxz was doing with the Great Katana. Tom can't even take the riposte because that is not a throwing attack, so he's got to just keep hurling discs. Okay, and blanxz fighting now two Jagged Peak Drakes at the same time. Luckily, the two dragons do try to fight each other as well, so you can get a little bit of help during the fight. but both of them can easily hit you, so it is very chaotic, and it's very hard to keep controlled. blanxz, oh, I love that. He did an overhead stance, and in the middle of attacking the dragon's head, got around to the correct side of it for the riposte. Very, very nice play from blanxz. And he's got the Peak Drake well under half at this point, about a third of its life remaining. Tom had about a third of the life remaining on Dancing Lion as well, but I think blanxz is going to get this this kill first, despite getting here a little bit later and having a bit tougher of a boss. Those throwing attacks just are not quite that fast. They're very, very close, neck and neck, racing to be the first one to get their 11th square. blanxz with another riposte. Yeah, this is going to do it. blanxz will get the kill first. He does have to do a bit of dialogue with Egon in order to get the frilled finger once the fight is over, but even so, I think blanxz is going to be the first person to get his 11th square. blanxz behind this entire game. From the minute one, he has never held a lead in this game, and he's about to have it right here at the end. It doesn't matter who's ahead at the start. It matters who's ahead when the game is over, and blanxz is looking to be there. He's ahead by 1 square and has a lead heading into whatever he's going to do next, and it looks like it will be the Iris of Occultation. Tom ties it back up. Boss with throwing attacks only. Ooh, but now I wonder where he's going to head towards. Okay, he's in the Skidoo Altus. Ooh, he's going to go for Iris of Occultation as well. It's going to be a race for it. And this race might decide the game. If blanxz gets the Iris of Occultation, he's way ahead on the Frenzy NPC. So it would be very hard for Tom to stop. But if Tom gets the Iris of Occultation first, he could just head towards Count Ymir, Mother of Fingers, and if he gets that one first, he would win. blanxz, though, now having killed both Quia lines, he now just needs to acquire the Iris of Occultation from the Fort of Reprimand, and then give it to him in the backside of Shadowkeep, which blanxz does have access to. This is looking bad for Tom. I think blanxz will probably squeak this one out by giving the Iris of Occultation, getting his 12th square, and then all he's got to do is get that Frenzy NPC that he has priority on. Nice. blanxz here has got the Iris of Occultation. He's warping back to Church District. blanxz is definitely ahead here. As long as he does not, I don't know, fall into the water multiple times, blanxz is going to have the Iris of Occultation. Very, very strong play from blanxz to basically stick in the game, despite all the early pressure that Tom was putting on, and just say, hey, you know, if I can put out the fires, I will win the late game. That's basically what blanxz said from the beginning, you know, with his play, and that plan has worked out perfectly for him. I think Tom also played a very, very... Okay, well... Maybe he will fall in the water multiple times. Maybe I did jinx him. Maybe the game is not over, actually. But yeah, Tom played very, very strong this game as well. He has, you know, he put in on so much pressure early. It just did not quite fully culminate into a bingo line, and he wasn't quite able to maintain that big majority throughout the whole thing. So I believe blanxz is going to win this. It's not over yet, but I believe blanxz is in a pretty commanding spot here. So blanxz, with his second time through the Church District, hopefully not going to get blasted into the water a second time. As Tom needs to even get access to the backside of Shadowkeep, which is really tough, because he needs that backside access in order for all 3 of the remaining squares. He can't give the Iris of Occultation unless he's in the Church District. He can't get to Count Ymir unless he goes up towards Gaius, which blanxz has already done. And he can't get to the Frenzy NPC unless he gets past the Hippo. So he'd either have to go through the Hippo or through the backside. So obviously Tom needs to catch up on backside access, but I think it's just going to be a little bit too little too late. All right. blanxz giving the Iris of Occultation and listening to the entire speech here. blah, blah, blah. Queeline really likes to yap. But he gives it right there. Boom. That is 12 squares for blanxz. All he needs is one more. Tom's only hope of winning is to get both the Frenzy NPC and Count Ymir. A very, very tough situation to be in. He's heading towards Ymir right now in order to have access to starting the Metter quest line. The Metter quest line is required in order to kill Ymir. You don't get to, unfortunately, just talk to him and say, have at thee. You do have to go through the Metter quest first instead. But blanxz is just heading towards that Frenzy NPC. He is already sort of halfway through this area. He just has to go through the catacomb with Jory, pop out of the other side, and kill the Frenzy NPC, and blanxz will take this game. blanxz definitely showing why, you know, he ended up as the winner of the Season 4 of Bingo Brawlers. Just a really calm head and good play and decision-making that even if you start to get a little behind in the early game, just say, hey, stick to my plan, and, you know, and I can make it back there eventually, and that is what he's done. So making his way through the Darklight Catacombs, a very dark and spooky catacombs, but he knows the path through. Oh, is he even gonna... Please tell me he, nah. I thought he was equipping the staff. There's a spell that you can cast that gives you light, but no, he's just equipping the staff and running through blocking with it. That is kind of funny. But he is making his way down towards the bottom of these catacombs. Now, Jory is not the easiest fight. Jory, if he gets away from you, he can do a bunch of summons. He's got a bunch of long-range spells that blanxz would have to worry about. There is a backstab loop that you can do on Jory, but it is tough. It is not an easy loop to do, so... blanxz swapping to some of the Rakshasa set, which does increase your damage dealt. Very, very powerful set. It doesn't have a great defense, though, the Rakshasa set, so not something that you might use for every situation, but for speed, it is a good option. All right, blanxz with sort of one more section of the catacomb to go before he gets to Jory, and Tom just trying to catch up on that progress. All right, blanxz making his way past the big golem, what do you, imp that shoots giant cannonballs. Very scary, but as long as you just kind of run through at the same pace every time, you know exactly when he's going to shoot, and you can just easily walk by them or jump over them as blanxz did there. And now blanxz is at Jory, so all he's got to do is get this kill and then the kill on the Frenzy NPC, and he will take this match. All right, he's heading in. Let's see if he goes for the backstab loop, or there are other ways to fight. You can just try to fight Jory straight up, but most players I've seen have gone for some version of the backstab loop. Maybe only backstab every other time instead of every single time, but there's our first backstab. Yep, and he's just looping around behind for another. If he keeps that up, he should have a nice, easy kill. Looping around. Oh. This time going for a charge dart too, an interesting choice. Gets the backstab here. Jory will probably try to teleport again, so he's got to get the backstab here. Very nice. And with that, Jory probably will not be able to teleport anymore before blanxz is going to be able to kill him, so blanxz doesn't have to worry too much. As long as you keep Jory near you, he cannot summon. Gets a nice stagger. Big riposte. Won't quite kill him, but it'll get close. And overhead stance takes him out. Very nice for blanxz. He's got access to the woods. The Frenzy NPC is just a short walk away to claim victory. Tom trying to head towards that Frenzy NPC as well, but he has so far to go. He's got to go all the way through that running river section. He's got to go through the entire catacomb with Jory that blanxz just went through. So I do not see any way that he can catch up here. All right, this section, despite being open, you cannot use Torrent in the Abyssal Woods. Torrent is frightened. This is supposed to be like the sort of almost horror-like section of Elden Ring. It's a very interesting area. You're not allowed to use Torrent, and there are monsters that are invulnerable that will chase you and kill you. But blanxz is going to know how to avoid those monsters, make it straight to the Frenzy NPC, and just have one quick NPC fight. Not the easiest NPC fight. It does have very quick attacks, as well as Frenzy, which is a very debilitating debuff that can cause a ton of damage and cause you to lose control of your character for a bit. So, nice. blanxz uses one of the Blessings of Marika he got just to cleanse some Frenzy as he heads into the fight. But the Matting Hand does not have that much health, so all he has to do is get him a few more times, use his advanced range, and there it is! blanxz has won the match. 1 hour and 4 minutes. blanxz claims the 13th square and wins off of majority. Tom, so close, but just a little bit behind. GG's, guys.
Good game, Tom.
Good game, blanxz. I made a bit of a mistake with not holding thrown attacks.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I mean, I was getting really worried. I saw your early, like, Castle Ensis play, and I was getting really worried because you went up, like, 4-1 or something. But, yeah. I mean, in my head, all I wanted to do at that point was make the match close and make it still entertaining to watch. So I'm really glad that we went to at least, like, you know, double digits on both ends.
Yeah, it was a great game. I just chose not to go to Shadowkeep until the end, and I probably could have went to Shadowkeep instead of Dancing Lion, and then the game would be maybe more interesting with the potentially the 25th square. But yeah, you played very well. You used the Shadowkeep to your advantage on this one. I didn't realize how many squares were tied to that. And then you killed the Dragon Hearts and the Egon's Furl Finger really quickly. So it was like I couldn't even try to contest that. I don't know.
Yeah, it was
Maybe
definitely
I
interesting
should've-
how, Tom, you had so much pressure on the early game, but yeah, blanxz just kind of hung in there and just kept putting out fires till eventually he was able to come back.
Yeah,
I am
maybe
so glad
go
about
ahead.
that. I'm so glad because, like, I was worried that I was just gonna have to do Ymir, like, very early in the game, and so Tom would most likely have just, like, controlled the rest of the game. And so I'm glad that I was able to come back. And as soon as I got the score to even, at that point I did not care if I won or lost. I just wanted to put on a good show. So I'm just really happy with how it turned out.
Yeah, and it was a great show. Let me tell you, from commentating, it was really awesome. Very back and forth. There was so much strategy going on from both of you that we could see, and yeah, very fun match. And yeah, glad that you guys put on such a good show.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for SoulsSpeedruns for having us on for bingo. I mean, fantastic way to play the game if you guys are at all interested in bingo. The season 4 actually just ended, but season 5 will be in the works at some point in the future. So if you guys enjoyed bingo, then please go check us out. Most of our matches are held on Captain_Domo's main channel. We do a whole organized season with, like, we have round robin, and we did, like, a playoffs this season. It was a lot of fun, and thank you again to Mitch for commentating this match, and thank you, Tom, for coming on with me. I think
Thank you so much for inviting me. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, that's about all. I hope you guys enjoyed bingo, because bingo is something that I've been super passionate about for, like, a very long time. I hope that we were able to showcase some of, like, the mind games and just the, you know, the margin for error being so small in bingo in general, and just the ability to come back into a game. I don't know. I think that, like, bingo is, like, it's like an art form. But I've been yapping for a very long time, so I'll let my other players here give any last shout outs. If you guys want to watch me, I stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/blanxz, and you two can take it away for the rest of the outro.
Yes,
I guess
go-
I guess I'll go
Go
next.
ahead, Mitch.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you can see me. I'm also going to be doing a Two Gods speed run for SCM coming up in a bit, so I can give my full outro or whatever there. But yeah, if you want to check me out, twitch.tv/mitriz. Always a fun time.
Yeah, so I'm not doing another run in SCM, unfortunately, but you can find me at twitch.tv/NuclearPastaTom. I play bingo, I do challenge runs, I do speed runs, all that stuff, and it's a good time.
Yeah, I mean, I think that about wraps it up. Thank you again very much to the Souls community for coming out for the Souls charity marathon. I see you all in chat, you bunch of cuties. Thank you all for coming out and supporting. We're doing an awesome job raising money for Save the Children. So, yeah, thank you for the organizers, everyone behind the scenes that are getting all these runs set up and whatnot. Thank you for the viewers for being here and all that. And yeah, I think that's about it from us. So thank you all for being here. And maybe we'll catch you next year for some more bingo or something like that. We'll see.
All right. Thank you so much, runners. That was an incredible match. That was a very, very fun match to watch. And Mitch, thank you for that shoutcasting. That was pretty incredible to listen to. Viewers, we are going to take a very quick intermission here to set up for the next run. But now is a great time to get your donations in. We are $95 away from reaching that $4,000 goal. And I hear Carter said that they'll put in a sweater giveaway in the chat if we reach $4,000. So let's see that before the next run, and we'll be right back.